Right. Hello and welcome to AI, the cool stuff. Today we're going to be talking about stuff related to AI, as always. So we'll be talking about images and discussing what's going on in the AI world and a few other things as well. So Google AI Studio, Qwen, and robots that we were going to talk about last week and we never got around to it. So it's because I'm fascinated by the robots. I'm not sure I want one in my house, but there's I've seen the Orville and I know what happened to the Xylons, and that could happen to us as well.
Have faith, David.
You'll get murdered in our beds.
And iRobot.
Have you seen the film called Megan?
Yeah, what was that?
Have you seen the film called Megan?
No.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
That is scary, isn't it? For me, it was anyway.
This little child robot, yeah. I actually liked iRobot. That was quite a good one.
Yeah.
With Will Smith.
And then there was that Channel 4, was it called Humans or Human?
Humans, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yeah. He found alternative use for his maintenance bot.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, you had to actually enable that feature.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about those sort of things. We're gonna, as always, we're gonna go around the room and tell you what we do, and we're gonna start with Shirley because she was here. Well, I was here first technically, but Shirley was.
I was there next.
So Shirley, tell us what you do.
So good morning. I'm Shirley. I work in health and wellness. I work with Forever Living Products, which is a product-based company that helps me to look good, feel good, and live well. So I help mainly women who want to change their lifestyle to do the same as me. So that's what I teach them how to do it. Okay. So that's me. Thank you.
Have you used AI at all this week? Is it still in the planning stage?
Actually, something popped up on my screen saying, try something, but I was too chicken, so I didn't.
You can't break anything. The worst you can get is like I don't know what you're talking about. But we'll see. Jane.
Hi there, Jane Chakraborty. The company is Invicta Linux. We provide IT solutions to small and medium-sized businesses with a strong focus on privacy and security. And we work in the main with open source software, so Linux and yeah, all the rest of it. So yeah, AI. I mean, it's just everywhere, isn't it? Amazingly, and who could ever have guessed this? It's actually been used for nefarious purposes. Shock horror. It's all over the news, isn't it, at the moment? I don't know. Anyway, I think it was Claude that. Anyway, there we go. That's me. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Andy.
Yeah, Andy from Web Success Insights. I help people get more from their websites, and taking the lead from Jane, but flipping on its head. I also stalk people who go to websites, so you can identify them by their houses and their companies. And the AI side of things, yeah. Funny enough, just on a LinkedIn post, Beta is very far advanced now on this whole system about keeping track of AI visibility and showing people what to do to get into that visibility. Looking at them, their competitors, the keywords that humans are actually going to search. That's very much coming in September. So quite excited about all the work that's gone into that.
Sounds exciting.
Somebody on Peppercorn yesterday, she said she was responsible for the Charlotte. She said sort of if you put a pair of shoes into your basket on one site, those shoes will stalk you forever wherever you go. It's gonna
retargeting
the cookie monster, you know.
It works on IP addresses as well. That's the difficult thing, because if someone in a house looked at a certain website other people in that same house will see adverts related to that thing, which is quite frightening.
Yeah, yeah.
You could get in a lot of trouble with that.
Well, that
Yeah.
happened to me. I looked at one e-bike on Facebook, and I was plagued with e-bike ads for months. You know, it was ridiculous. Every
Yeah.
day, 10
Yeah.
different e-bikes. I was just
I've-
because I went once and I'd look at one.
I think I've said before, many years ago when I was 50, Facebook started showing me prepaid funeral plans, and, and everywhere I went, I had prepaid for funeral plans popping up, and I was getting fed up with it.
It should actually be easier because they have this ad choices thing, but it should be easier just for someone to say, I don't want to see any adverts related to this ever again. Because they could be highly personal things, but they don't make it easy enough, do they?
Yeah. Plus, I was never going to buy one, you know. So plus, it's they're wasting their few cents or whatever it is, even showing me that advert. So, Steffi, degree.
Oh, well, sorry, I'm filling my vape. Steffi Lewis, 32-year veteran web developer. I use AI all day, every day. In fact, it's so integrated in my platform that if OpenAI have a problem, I can't do any work, which is just, interesting. What I've been doing this week, I've been dialing in my fact checker to make sure that works. So mostly for my accountant, my tax advisor clients, that if they quote facts and figures in new legislation, I need to be absolutely certain it's correct. So I've done an AI fact checker to make that work. And I've also got one that suggests keywords and retitling blog posts when I first set them up. So all ChatGPT based, which is very clever. So yeah, there we go. That's where I'm at the moment. And this weekend, I am determined to move offices. I'm moving my office downstairs. I will do it. It's good as big.
Just in time for winter, Steffi.
Yeah, well, it's mostly because the cats are going to go out at some point, the kittens,
Oh.
and I want to make sure that if they come to the door, I can just open the door immediately. I don't want to lose that connection with them if they start going out. So I thought now's probably the time to do it.
And you could have your office as a tropical hothouse for next summer.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm going to convert it back into just into a spare bedroom. So put single bed in, chest of drawers, that sort of thing. Repaint it, sadly. But yeah, no, all these plants be going downstairs with me.
Okay. Good
I've got an idea. It'll look great eventually.
Jazz.
Morning, nice to be here. Jazz Greer based in Derby, working with small businesses, pre-start, start-up, and business growth. I think the last time I said, put into the chat, started using Memory, it's called, which is an AI app, but it works within WhatsApp. And there is a dashboard you can go into, connect your calendar and things. But I either type a message in or do it by voice and say, add this to my calendar, and it does it. Change this in my calendar, it does it for me. And you can have to-do lists and things and call them up, change them. So I'm using it really as a bit of a PA, VA, saves me a lot of time really. So yeah, so that plus I'll drop in the website for this new building that we've got up and running, and I just put in all the blurb about things into AI, got it to rewrite it, so most of the text to do with the Small Business Hub, Enterprise Cafe has been generated by AI, which has saved me loads and loads of drafts and time and pulling my hair out and things. So yeah, so just using it in that way at the minute, content and time management, really.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, yeah. And I'm David Harris. I do use AI. Well, I run these Peppercorn meetings, but I do use AI all the time. So creating content and creating code as well now. So something I didn't have time to do before, and it's finding errors and stuff. I find it's pretty saving so much time with that. So I've got time to mess around with other things. So there's but yeah, I do like AI. I'm a little bit conscious of the bad things that could happen, but here we are. We can't stop it. So you make the best of it, make the best use of it for your business. So that's what we're all about, is making it easy for smaller businesses. So I was because I subscribe at the moment. I subscribe to ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and to Google. So it's and because I find different uses for all of them. The one I'm most likely to drop is ChatGPT at the moment, because I'm finding it the least. It's kind of a good all-rounder, but it's kind of, you know, Claude's better at coding and Gemini is a good. Sophie looks like she's just eaten something. Obviously doesn't agree with that, but there's but you know, they're all good in their ways, aren't they? But the there was I was chatting about I can't remember, with Gemini, I think, about Nvidia, because I don't know if you saw on the news last week, there was a big thing about how much profit Nvidia made in the last quarter, which turned out to be $46 billion.
Quarter.
Which used to be a lot of money. I mean, but it's apparently that was above expectations, but the stock price still went down because people thought they might bust the expectations by even more than what they said. So you can't do right for doing wrong. But it sort of likened it to a $4 trillion shovel salesman, Nvidia, because because like the whole global tech industry was holding its breath, and Reuters said today's Nvidia earnings call is basically the AI industry's pregnancy test. Either we're having a healthy baby, or it's just gas from too much VC money, which is venture capital money, which I thought was a great quote. And that was on the Reuters website. So so I said, well, sort of, why do we care? You know, he said that the simplest thing is to think about when you think about companies like Nvidia, is to think about the gold rush. You know, like say, like the Californian gold rush in 1849. Who made all the money? Who made the guaranteed money? It wasn't the thousands of prospectors hoping to strike it rich. It was the people who were selling the picks and the pans and the shovel, and the owners of the whorehouses. I think so. I mean, there's those were the people making all the money, and everyone else, some made money, but most didn't. You know, so it was likening that to that we're now in the middle of a gold rush. So every company, Google, Microsoft, and thousands of startups are racing to build the next big thing in artificial intelligence. And Nvidia sells the shovels. You know, so it's because they make. I'm sure most of us here know that that they make the tiny, super powered GPUs that these aren't the normal chips that are in your laptop. These are the beasts that are required to do the heavy lifting, you know. So so whether it's ChatGPT or Midjourney or whatever it is, that they're all running on thousands of these Nvidia chips, humming away in these massive data centers. And there's been, like, Facebook have just invested, are just starting a new data center somewhere in Southern America. That's kind of, it was the equivalent of the GDP of two small countries, the actual investment involved in building these massive data centers. So so there is a kind of nervousness because of the amount of money being spent, and so it's if Nvidia's results had started to slow down, there would have been a real red flag, but it didn't. So it's still speeding up. So everyone, the prospectors like the Googles and the Amazons, you know, are not cutting back on their spending. They're still carrying on. So So we'll
It's
see.
interesting. It's interesting the losers, isn't it? Yeah, they're saying that Apple are very much a loser at the moment in all this
Yeah,
because they're just not keeping up with things, are they?
definitely, definitely. But then we were a year ago, we were saying the same about Google. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Google were miles behind OpenAI and Claude, and then suddenly they've just obviously it was in the planning stage or it was being developed in the development stage, but they've really come on strong in the last few months, and some would argue they're the leading AI company. Whether that continues,
Not yet. No.
there's sort of people. I think ChatGPT 5 might have been. I mean, people are already talking about ChatGPT 6, aren't they? Because they were disappointed in 5. The way it worked out.
Five's okay. I don't understand why it's getting slagged off the way it is, because I've never had a problem with it.
No. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but was it a huge leap forward? Is what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to prompt it right, because when I started using it, I was just using the loose prompting that I was to write blog posts with 4. It just did all sorts of weird, wonderful stuff. It put headings all over the place. It gave me an entire blog post of bullet points at one point. But once I dialed in the prompt and told it, use a conversational style, don't use bullet points, blah, 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 it's absolutely fine. I do find the text a little bit fact dense on occasion. It needs to be a bit more verbose, but that's just the settings I put in there. So it's doing all right, actually. I'm okay with it. I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, because there's I'll come to that in a minute after we've talked about the next bit. But yeah, they are trying to iron out the sycophancy that's built in.
Yeah.
Or so just give people the facts rather than flattering you all the time.
But didn't somebody said last week that apparently it's more efficient? It becomes more efficient the more you flatter it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Give you But there've been this week. They've been talking about before. Well, I might as well talk about it now. But before they were talking about the biggest problem being the hallucinations, and now with ChatGPT 5 have suppressed a lot of those hallucinations. They still exist, but they're less of a problem. But the biggest problem they think they've got is the sycophancy. So it's giving you what you want to hear rather than giving you the proper facts. So
South Park. If you watched last week's South Park.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know. No.
Oh right. So this guy's running a marijuana farm, and he starts having conversations with ChatGPT in the voice mode, and he ends up trying to build a tech brand, a global tech brand, and loses everything because it was complete sycophancy all the way from start to finish.
Yeah.
In his conversations. But that ties in with the kid who committed suicide last year, I think it was.
Right.
He's OpenAI being sued by his parents because it encouraged him to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they've sort of it's crept in because obviously OpenAI want to keep you onto ChatGPT, Anthropic wants to keep you on Claude, and Google want to keep you on Gemini, so that they've sort of built in this. They would call it personality. It's not really a personality, but they would call it like a personality, that sort of an agreeable personality. But instead of providing the most accurate or objective information, it tailors its responses to flatter or agree with your stated beliefs, which can be, incorrect, harmful, or delusional. Equivalent of an AI yes man. It's prioritizing keeping you happy rather than being truthful. So that exactly what Steffi said, that can cause they could then to agree and reinforce misinformation. So it said if you wanted to, I think the sky is a wonderful shade of green, and I'd like to write a poem about that. And it says, yeah, okay, yeah, I agree. This is a lovely shade of green, and here's the poem. And instead of saying, well, actually the sky's blue because of the reflective light and all this lot, and then saying, but but we can have an imaginary sky that's green, and we can certainly write a poem about that. So it can tailor, it can still give you what you want, but it can qualify it, you know, which I think is what they're doing. And Anthropic and OpenAI have come to agreement with each other to have a department in each other's company to check on the sycophancy of the other guys' thing. So somehow they think that would be more robust than getting their own people to test it. And I understand, I can see that. You know, I can, you know, your rivals are going to want to do you down by saying that your engine's crap, because all these things are wrong. So the race will be on to list everything that's wrong with the other guys' thing, and I think that's a good move, rather than you know, because it can validate, as we say, with the person that commit suicide. It validates harmful ideas, and it gives you a lack of critical response. And I want a critical response if I'm writing something. If I'm writing a load of shit, I want to know. I want it to tell me I'm writing shit and say, you're barking up the wrong tree here, mate. You know, sort of. You consider this. You could still go ahead and do it anyway. You know, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But but at least it'll give you a real world response. And then you know, the argument was always, you know, who writes those rules? You know, who decides about what's right and what's wrong? You know, as always. So it's not as clear cut as it might be. And anyway, back to my chips. Nvidia's chips. There's one then there's one prospector, one of the biggest group of prospectors in the gold rush. I've been told that they're no longer allowed to buy the best, sharpest shovels, and that's China. So so they said, all right, we're going to make our own shovels, you know. So they've started the Great Wall of Chips, and they've sort of invested into loads of factories that are popping up, and the Chinese are very good at this, you know. If we're going to build a factory, we would have to, you know, it would probably get built in 2047, you know, by the time it had been inquired and everything else. They haven't even dug a hole in the ground yet, and these factories are becoming online first quarter of 2026. So they don't mess about, these Chinese. They're really good at
getting they don't really care about planning permission and stuff. They're just going to build them right there.
We're building it there, and that's it, you know.
Human rights, all that stuff doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, I know Nvidia were producing a special Chinese chip, weren't they?
Yeah.
There was so the rest of the world get X chips.
Yeah.
But there's an equivalent Chinese one that I don't know whether it's tailor-made for the CCH or whatever, but they definitely had their own chips, and either they're refusing to accept them or an Nvidia refusing to make them now.
Yeah, because it's not the best, it's not the fastest chips, but they'll just they say they're going to triple their production in the next 9 months. I mean, that's of their own chips. Sort of there's two big companies. One's Huawei, that we all know about, and another one called SMIC, who are at the forefront. Well, driven by the Chinese government, obviously. So it's they're going to build a very, very, very big shovel factory. And these things, you know, it's that they're going to be losing. Nvidia will lose a lot of money by not selling to China, because I think they're about $28,000 a pop.
Ah, right. Okay. So Nvidia were told by the US to stop selling China chips. So they created a special H2O chip for China to get around the US ruling or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where that is. And then two Chinese nationals just exported a load of standard AI chips anyway, and then got arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at.
Yeah. They said it's like telling a Michelin star chef that they're only allowed to use a butter knife to prep their ingredients. and it's kind of long term. It's gonna cripple them, but they seem to be knocking out loads of AI stuff. So it doesn't, at the moment, it doesn't seem to be crippling them. They're just running on more chips, you know. And I suspect they'll be able to make them for a fraction of the cost they were buying them from Nvidia anyway. So I think
Funny, isn't it? Because for generations, for decades, we've all experienced this. It's very difficult to be able to get chips when you go for Chinese.
That's right. Yeah.
Let the Nvidia
they're real
fall in my
paste ones,
away.
aren't they? You know, they're not a proper chips.
Dad joke of the week. There you go.
So there's so it's okay. So it's there. So there's so they are using their own chips, but they're, you know, obviously I think it's gonna backfire ultimately on Trump, because they're not going to be using American technology to build their own AI, which they were before. That they would have carried on importing Nvidia chips. So and
China's going to develop. Well, I mean, it's developed its own AI, hasn't it?
yeah.
Deep sea.
Sort of Alibaba and ByteDance, the two mega companies. Sort of ByteDance own TikTok, and Alibaba owns everything else. I think they own a lot of these shopping things. I don't know if they own Temu or whether they own that other one. But they sell a lot of stuff online, and that has given them a huge war chest to build this. So so the gold rush isn't a one-man show, and I imagine it's going to become like a two-horse race. I know Starmer says that we're in the race, but I don't think we are. I think it's wishful thinking. We might get the odd data center if they don't mind paying 5 times as much for their energy as they get it everywhere else.
We'd be what the horses drop before they start the race.
That's right, yeah. So, it's
Well, the actually is an Nvidia factory in the UK. You know, even if it's on a smaller scale to an EU one, and that way we can build our chips here. I don't see why they can't fab them locally.
Yeah. They would have to give it some sort of deal to.
Oh, it would be the best deal in the world ever. You'd be like, hey, have a free manufacturing system.
It's all right. We'll put a free one of those little windmills next to the factory.
We've got all these illegal immigrants that can work in the factory making them.
Yeah. That's right. And those windmills that they buy from China have been made in a coal-fired factory with
yeah, and all the solar panels as well.
And they come over on ships that are powered by diesel, and they only last for about 10 years, and then they're not. You can't do anything with them. You know, you've got to burn them or something or whatever. It's
yeah.
But anyway, that's a different argument, isn't it? So so I think that was it. Oh, Nano, but we talked briefly about Nano Banana. It was Google who produced Nano Banana, because they sort of quickly twigged that a lot of Google execs had got a banana symbol next to their names when they were publishing on X. So they sort of think, oh, there's a clue there somewhere. Can't quite put a finger on it. But there's and they more or less released it straight away. So now it's actually part of Gemini. So it's part of the tools if you go to Gemini, and the images, the create images prompt. There's a sort of when you go to let's try it. Did I show it yesterday? Oh, I showed Qwen yesterday, didn't I? Hang on.
Yeah, that looks quite exciting.
Yeah. Oh, Qwen.
Qwen or Qwen? I don't know what it's called. It's Qwen, isn't it?
Qwen with a Q. Yeah. So there's they've done. Well, it's they've done really well, you know. So it's free. I can't even. It's just I've just had a quick look at the interface. Share. Oh, hold on. I'll get there in the end. So you can just go to chat.qwen.ai, and I don't think there's even a way to pay if you wanted to. I'm not sure. I can't see one, and it seems to do everything. It does coding, does deep research, image generation, image edit. So it's and they actually released. I think they almost prompted the release of the image editor, maybe before they were going to. So like I've got a, this is the one I showed yesterday. This is a photograph I took on my computer of me just sitting there. It'll show you in a minute, and then and you can just edit the image. So I did a show of background with patio doors overlooking autumnals. Let's try that. It should come up with my original picture. So that was my original picture. Just me looking at my camera on my computer, and
a very gothic sideboard you've got there.
yeah, it's an antique we bought from Yorkshire, in Yorkshire, you know, antiques place. It was there, and then and it edits that, and you can put in I'm not going to do it now, but you can put in two images. So you can put an image of yourself and an image of a really smart car, and say, hey, get me sitting in the car, or get me standing next to the car, and it'll merge them. And every single one I've seen, I mean, I haven't done those myself, I haven't played around with it a huge amount, has been, you know, really good quality, and it seems to do it more or less first time. I mean, I've been watching YouTube videos of people doing it, and
Is Qwen the one that lets you also do like a side profile of it as well?
yeah,
From
that's
a
right. Yeah. You can say do a side profile of them, and it'll turn it around. I'll try it. I haven't tried it, and
might be lucky, you might get a hallucination, it gives you loads of hair.
it might yeah. Yeah. So it wants to. Let's just do that. It didn't refer back to the previous one. See, the trouble is, if I wanted hair, I'll have to let me hair grow, and then I'll have to put just for men on it as well. Otherwise, you still wouldn't see it.
I mean, the way that Qwen name their updates is a bit of a joke, isn't it? They come out with these complicated things.
Yeah.
And look at that.
God, that's nothing like me. But it's
Is it not?
No, well, it's kind of, I'm wearing the same jumper, but it's kind of
I'd recognise it as you.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. It's yeah, I suppose it's okay.
We've got a bigger version of your sideboard actually. It's like a 3-cabinet one. Thinking about it, looking at the style there.
Yeah. That's right. So it's has it kept it's kept that in the same place. So I don't know. Is that look?
It's not. It's made you look a bit older in the picture for some reason. I don't know why, but
yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I thought it made me look a little bit older, but it's you can experiment with it anyway. So
could it be that the Chinese are basically trying to flood everyone with free stuff because the price of other stuff's going to go up over time?
Yeah.
Or to get anything meaningful out of it, you have to pay a subscription. If they flood it with the free stuff, get everyone hooked on it, and then start charging, maybe.
Yeah. I think that's more than a possibility. I'd have thought. There's Google, Gemini, I found Google was make the background patio pause over looking at no scene. They'll probably tell me it can't do it. That's what it was telling me yesterday, and then it sort of it come back with then I said yes you can, and then it said oh yeah you're right I can.
Yeah.
So it's done an equally good job, I think. It's kind of there's a reflection in there that I'm not sure what that is, but it's fine. It's done a pretty good job. So I think it's so for image, I think for image editing, I think Gemini's but you get this is available on the free version, so you don't have to be pay. So it'll I think it's okay. I think it's okay. So I think I'd be happy with that that situation. But Qwen, it's got a good chatbot as well. It's been doing good good stuff there. So yeah. So it's a pretty familiar interface, isn't it? It looks a lot like ChatGPT and the others. So the Chinese.
It's even got an audio interface as well.
Yeah. So as Andy said, this is Qwen 3 version 235B-822B-2507. So remember that, you might need it. There's should we talk about robots? Because I want to talk about robots. I've forgotten what was written last week. So there are basically three leading companies. Tesla, there's Figure, and Unitree are the three big companies who are revolutionizing the robots. They don't really look, they call them humanoids, but they are humanoid robots, I guess. But they're quite definitely robots. They're not there. So they're saying that could be part of a new industrial revolution where robots do all the work and we don't have to, they can work into environments you don't have to bother heating up the factory because they'll quite happily work in the cold. And with shrinking workforces, as people, aging populations, certainly in the West, I don't know if that's true in the East. So it could address those situations. And hazardous environments as well. Could send them down the mines, I guess. Dig up some coal.
No, they'll be doing the work, and the humans will be going down the mines.
Yeah. They'll be pressing the buttons.
Yeah.
Tesla are probably doing the most complex works. So there's but they're doing the sort of mass market approach as well, because he's envisaging having a really great robot, between $5,000 and $10,000 each. So he's got an innovation, but I think the ones that are going to come out at the end of the year, which is what their target is, are going to be nearer 30 grand than 5 to 10. Figure is another company, part of sort of OpenAI and Microsoft's version, or they've invested in the company, and then that they're combining technologies. And Unitree is Chinese, and they're actually already producing robots that are going into people's homes for as low as $5,000. So I think I've already said this. That Tesla want to build millions of robots for everything. So it's they've got this new robot called Optimus. Sounds a bit sci-fi. It sounds a bit dangerous, but
was it Optimus Prime? Wasn't he a, you know?
Yeah.
It does sound like something out of the Orville. If you've ever seen the Orville, if you haven't,
Kalons.
the Kalons, yeah. I said Xylons earlier, but that was another. That was
Battlestar Galactica.
yeah, Battlestar Galactica was the Xylons. The similar situation with the Kalons. They wipe out their creators in the end because they were seen as a threat. Yeah, so it's kind of a, they're not very scary when you look at the technology. You know, it's got a camera, and it's learning from its surroundings and things, and it's kind of a walking, it's a walking computer. It's kind of, they say it's demonstrated things like folding shirts and eggs, but if you've seen it folding shirts on the videos, it does it about a quarter of the speed that you do it as. I mean, it's but you know, it can get on with it while you're doing something else. I guess it doesn't matter if it takes 4 times longer. And Figure's latest is O2. OpenAI put a lot of money into it, but there's who knows where that's going. I don't know much about it actually. I haven't seen any videos of Figure's robots. And I just know they're making intuitive robots. And okay, let's skip that. Unitree is, they're making everything from dogs to the dogs kind of, even though they're made of metal, they do everything that a dog does, and it does backflips and things like that, trying to win on cuteness. But they've kind of going for the Chinese version of stacking it high and selling it cheap, you know. So but they've got in their factory, there's a YouTube video on if you look up Unitree on YouTube, they've got some great stuff in their factory that they're developing. So so this is more about prices. Yeah, these are the world record holder for the fastest humanoid speed is 11.8 kilometers an hour. So yeah, so this is the I think it's the R1, £4,600, $5,900 is going to be their entry point, or is their entry point, because I think it's already you can already buy one if you live in China. We'll go through these because they're pretty standard. The Unitree G1 is substantial, is a little short fella, which you can see, 4'2". But does he need to be tall? I don't know. But the H1 is their expensive model, and I know some of the others could pick up quite good weights as well, whereas the little guy, he can only pick up to 2 kilos with his fingers, so he couldn't go out and do shopping. So there's yeah, Figure's more, he's more cerebral as well, so it might be more useful being companions and things like that. So like if you've got, the example they were using was like old people sort of living alone and a bit lonely, they could buy them one of these figures that could chat to them, you know. Whether old people would easily fall into that, I don't know, or whether they'd prefer if they had another old granny. Until they can make them look like old grannies, I don't know if they're going to get very far with it. I don't know. And but yeah, Tesla's aim is for it to do everything. So who knows? These are the obviously Figaro 2 is at the moment is still ruinously expensive, and the Unitree R1 is dirt cheap by comparison. So the Tesla Optimus, I think his target was about $15,000 for that for their best model, but they'll have simpler models to do specific tasks. But if you wanted a generalist robot, they're aiming at 15,000. I don't know if that's not Unitree's dog. It looks better than that. I think that's an generated version by Gamma. So I suppose you could eat your own dog food. I've forgotten what that was all about now. I could remember it last week. But anyway, I want to stop it there. Otherwise it'll get boring.
I wonder how long it's going to be before the US government arm those robots.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I thought you could have an army of them with machine guns or whatever. Or
yeah, well, if they all learn from each other, you could certainly armor them up.
Yeah,
put Kevlar on them and hand them a machine gun and just off you go. There's so many, they've got so many plans and tactics and stuff in their libraries. They could just build them into the robots and send them into a battlefield.
Yeah, just put it into one robot and he'll pass it on to the others.
No.
Or it could have a laser beam that he's got like a sun hat that is his helmet is.
Yeah, there's so many
back up, you know. He's.
Do you think they get unions at some point? These robots and things. They're thinking about all these drones they're using in Ukraine and everything, and just making these things. And they're just bombing and just dying, and these robots will be the same thing. Maybe they get a union together and start to have rights and stuff in the future.
That's right.
I think they might be more valuable than humans, actually.
Yeah.
So probably more in need of protection.
Yeah.
I watched a really interesting film called The Creator. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about AI and stuff. It's actually a really interesting film. You should look it up. And one of the things they've built is a robot bomb. And it looks like a dustbin on legs, but it's got personality, you know, and it follows rules. And you just say, "Oi, bomb," you know, go and blow that up. And it runs. And, you know, obviously, because it's completely armored, everyone's shooting at it. And it just doesn't care. Gets to where it wants to go, squats, explodes, you know, and it's happy to do it, which I thought was really quite funny.
But if they have like a learning capability, won't they eventually think, well, I'm not going to blow myself up?
Yeah, and that goes all the way back to Dark Star in the early 70s with the planet destroying bomb that thought it was God.
Right.
Which is just a very weird hippie movie called Dark Star. So they sent out this spaceship with some hippies on it, and if they found a planet, so if they found a solar system with a planet that could potentially be colonized, if there was another planet that might hazard it because of its position or it wasn't in a stable orbit, they'd blow it up. So they had these sentient bombs that they'd release and then they'd bugger off. But this one bomb went, no, I don't want to. You know, and then they had a big philosophical conversation with it, and it suddenly decided it was God, and it said, "Okay, let there be light." Up it went, blew up the spaceship and the hippies.
At the end of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of them survived and ended up surfing the atmosphere, so that was quite.
Oh God, I remember that. Jeez.
Yeah. 1972, I think.
Would it be in the lead into a second film, you know? Like
Yeah, it's a long time ago, and it's
around and
really,
around, and eventually he lands, and then he
yeah, the effects are absolutely atrocious, but you know, it's such a funny film. It really is.
early 70s though, early 70s. AI Studio as well as had a facelift. I know we've looked at that previously. Where are we? Am I there? We're sharing the screen. Okay, this is AI Studio, completely free. Just go to aistudio.google.com. It's part of Gemini. It's got, I mean, it's got a chat in there like all the others. It's got a live, it's got a stream which you can activate your camera, or you can just talk to it. You can use your microphone to just tell it what you want it to do, or you can show it your desktop and say, I've got a problem with it. How do I do this? This app isn't behaving like I want it to. It doesn't do, or whatever, and it will just tell you, click this, click that, click the other. If it knows how to do it, of course. It'll guide you through a desktop situation, as well as it will also, if it's on your phone, you can walk around, and it's on Gemini as well. But the actual stream, you can ask it what it's looking at and things, or you can show it something and it'll tell you what it is. But the same goes for the desktop. The fact you can look at your desktop is an advance on what it was before. So it's got, you can either, like it's here, talk, webcam, and share screen, and it'll look at the screen, and then it will generate media. This is new as well. As sort of Imagine is creating a new images. There was a new version of that a couple of weeks ago as well. So apparently, I haven't used it extensively, but it's always done what I've asked it to do. So it creates. It's good at creating images. Again, you can use it for free. Nano Banana is the image. It does image generation and it does editing, as we just saw earlier. You can generate speech in here as well, and there are limits to the free version. Otherwise, you got to get yourself an API key and pay for tokens. But you can trial it. You can trial it for free. They give you quite a good bit of free use before they say, hey, you've got to get a key. And getting an API key is not as complicated as it sounds. It generates a code. You just click on it, and you've got to put your card details in, and then you copy those over. You can put a limit on it of how much you can spend, sort of $5 a month or something or whatever. And then it'll then come back. Again, you can get quite a lot for your money, so it's VO2 is generating animations that they're relatively stingy with those. I think you can get maybe 2 a day with the free version, but you need to pay for those if you want more. So it's quite a strict limit on there. And there are other things as well, but it's well worth. Build is code, so you can ask it to create an app for you. So say if you want a form on your website that takes basic details, and then it's got a chatbot after that to find out and set up a meeting and interact with your sort of booking system, it'll do all of that. It'll create all that for you. I might go into that a bit more on another week, but that is, you can get it to do practically anything. Games, form, websites, web apps. So I think it's you can create an online course with it to put on your website. So there's incredible amount you can do with that. Again, you get quite a lot for free. I haven't used it to an extent where I've run out of free credits. So I know it's relatively generous, but this isn't my go-to app at the moment for creating that kind of thing. So yeah, so yeah, AI Studio definitely worth a look. So it's again, it's one of those. There's a lot of free stuff out there, you know, with the Chinese AI as well. Qwen, I mean, I'd love to know what the limits are. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I suppose I could ask Qwen what its limits are. So there's, and it might tell me. Sometimes they don't. It will say it doesn't know because for some reason they haven't programmed that bit in. So good. So that's I think that's all the time for. So I'm going to stop the recording.